Let's look at question 16. On the struggle bus, that's the name of the YouTube channel. How can I know I have the right faith? I've been watching many apologetics videos since I first found your videos over 4 years ago, and many Catholics, Reformed, and evangelicals have convincing arguments. Well, the Catholics are wrong, and the Reformed are wrong, and the evangelicals are right. Like, it's easy. This is an easy question. I don't even know why you're struggling at all. I'm just going to drink coffee now for the rest of the video. Okay. One thing to do is this. Get your head around the person of Jesus, which Catholics, Reformed, and evangelicals, which we all agree on. Okay, well, there's a good starting point, isn't it? The person of Jesus, his death and his resurrection, those like ironclad, like central facts of Christianity. We agree on that. The nature of who God is, we agree on that. So what are we agreeing on? Could you start with that? Could you say, hey, I want to have the right faith. Well, I'm going to believe in Jesus' death and his resurrection. I'm going to believe in God and in the omnipotent God. I'm going to believe in that I'm saved when I put my faith and trust in Christ. If you start there, then you realize that you don't, for the most part, you don't have to worry about a lot of those other debates right away. When it comes to other stuff, you could be Reformed and evangelical at the same time. Reformed, I take to just mean you're a Calvinist. Okay, so fine, you can parse that out and work that out on your own. I pray that the Lord gives you patience and wisdom and all this sort of thing. I think Catholicism is an easier question to answer for me, even than the issues of like Reformed versus, because I'm not Reformed. Okay, I'm not a Calvinist, but I get along with them great and can get along with them great, more easily than, say, with somebody who has, who we disagree with on Catholicism. I'm not saying I can't get along with a Catholic, like be friends and stuff like that. What I'm saying is I can't exactly hold their hands in all the same contexts in church and in things like that, because there are some really significant things there. The amount of extra added on, like if you took the basis, like imagine if you had like a, gosh, I need an analogy here. I'm reaching for one. Imagine you had a ball of Legos. And this ball of Legos is like your starting point, like it's the base, or I'll take a base of Legos, the flat base of Legos. The base of the Legos is like Jesus, his death and resurrection, being saved by grace, by believing in him. Evangelicals tend to add some more stuff on there. Right, we do. Now, we're not saying that stuff's not biblical, but it's definitely added on to that core, okay? It's definitely more than just that core. Catholicism adds a whole lot more stuff onto there. And that whole lot more stuff is to say, if you embrace the Lego structure of, say, evangelical, like classic old school evangelicalism, not like the more progressive style that's leaking into some churches, then you would embrace a thing that has that foundation and a little bit more. If you embrace Reformed, I think you're embracing even a little bit more commitments, a little bit more theological commitments than that, because now you're talking about like Tulip and all those doctrinal commitments, because evangelical could include Reformed, could not. But now if you're going to add Reformed, you added more doctrinal commitments. Then if you were to embrace, say Catholicism, you've got to take off all that Reformed stuff, some of this evangelical stuff, but then you add like a large amount of extra stuff. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Do I accept this thing over here that accepts the foundation and some more, the foundation and some more and some more, or the foundation and a lot more? Just recognize that these are not the same thing at all. Catholicism adds a lot more. That might seem clumsy, but I just want to give you some perspective on these issues. I have some videos on Catholicism. If you're interested in these topics, I would recommend you guys check out Gavin Ortland's channel. I think it's called Truth Unites. We don't agree on everything, but when it comes to the intersection of Protestantism in general, just general sort of basic Protestantism, historical, compared to Catholicism, like he's the best source I've seen online for dealing with this stuff, Gavin Ortland. So I'd recommend you guys check out his channel, Truth Unites, and for you to check that stuff out as well on the struggle bus, because I think you will find it very helpful what he does that a lot of other people don't do is he gets kind of deep into the history of things so that he can sort of bring clarity. And he's a good teacher too. And those two combine well into giving people a lot of clarity. I avoided, I'll say this real quickly, I avoided talking about the doctrine of justification, but it is absolutely relevant. It really does matter. And Catholicism's doctrine of justification, depending on how you understand it, as I understand it, is so problematic to me that I see it chipping away at the actual base, the actual foundations being chipped away. And so that's a significant issue. I don't want to make that any smaller than I think it is. Not everybody agrees with me on that, but God will be the judge.